Alright, quiet on the shit, everyone. Quiet on the shit. Quiet. Quiet on the shit.
A wild, purple-haired person appears, interrupting your not-so-regularly scheduled programming. What's up, friends? Please excuse the mess behind me. 2020 has had its effects on all of us. Just inserting myself here to let you guys know that the first 20 or so minutes of Rios and I, the footage at least, I could not find. We filmed this, like I said, early February before this was declared a pandemic and everything, and whether the footage didn't save that day, I don't know. I spent 5 hours trying to find it. So, instead, I've used the lovely art skills I've cultivated over this chaotic year to create a portrait of the Von Rochts for you all to admire. We did not lose any actual character moments or scenes. It is literally just his and I's camera. So there will be that portrait standing in for us until the footage does come back on later in the video. That's really all I had to say. I hope you all are doing well. I hope episode 7 is something you guys can enjoy. Feel free to leave us your feedback down in the comments, and know that episode 8 will be coming very soon as it possibly can. I promise.
Hold 1 second.
Oh, well, while that's happening, I'm just going to work on my Angelo smooth talking because I'm going to maybe be doing that later. You're like a sangria.
Oh, God.
Aged to perfection.
Oh, no.
You're like a summer speech. If I bite into you, I can only imagine the juices.
The juices.
Better.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Running down my lips as I meet yours.
I'm doing vocal exercises. I'm stretching my face.
So now, let me tell you something.
Stop. No, that's so fucking weird.
Oh, that's so good.
I adore you. You are my peach. Yo quiero tú.
Yo quiero.
Yo quiero tú.
Oh, God.
You got what I need. You are what I want.
Okay, we're starting, Rios.
Okay.
When last we left off, the siblings had come to a conclusion regarding what their next moves would be. Eleanor has made a bunch of letters and is going to send them out to various nobles in the city, and has sent Angelo to do so.
Some errands, I'm the errand boy.
Meanwhile, I think Eleanor is going to perform a ritual or go to Kenneth's.
I was going to go ahead and do the ritual first, because I need a horse.
All right.
So.
Okay. So, to begin, Eleanor, would you like to describe the ritual?
Yes. So Eleanor, realizing she still does not have a cane, and she doesn't really have a backup cane.
The cane being your focus.
Yes. She needs a way to get around. So, we will find another focus eventually, but for now I need an easy way to get around that's not Bones just carrying me everywhere, because he has other things he might need to do. So I'm going to go into the stables and go to Kristoff's stall.
You go to Kristoff's stall.
Yes, and today Eleanor is not wearing the red dress she was wearing before. She's wearing like these high-waisted red pants with the boots of elven kind, with this kind of dark red blouse, and she has her badges and her sanctions pinned like kind of around her collar, visible and stuff, with the arcane investigator one being in the center.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. And she goes up to Kristoff's stall, and Kristoff was her father's Eidolon. So I don't think he is awake.
No, it's just a pile of horse bones.
That's fine. That's all I need. I am going to take a deep breath and do the bone crafting ritual.
Okay.
And she takes the bones and she arranges them in the stall. And then she takes some salt and sprinkles it around the bones. And then she takes her little dagger that she keeps with her and just breaks her finger and lets some blood drip onto the bones. And then she takes a match and she lights it and drops it as she begins casting the Bonecraft spell to raise Kristoff for herself. This is going to take her about an hour of just concentrating to, form him. But Bones is with me, just kind of standing back while she takes the time to do this.
All right, yeah. So it's not actually necromancy. She's not creating an undead. She's creating a construct.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
That's the
I'm
difference.
really trying not to make a necromantic horse because
Right.
I'm not sanctioned for that.
Yeah,
But
that's the difference between necrocana and necromancy. Is necromancers make undead, necrocanists make constructs out of dead things.
Loophole in the system. I love it.
Yeah, precisely. So, as you're doing that ritual and you begin it, you've got all your kind of letters beside you, I assume, for when Lady comes back and you want to send out the next one.
Yes, because I believe all I sent Lady off to deliver was the Blue Pages
Review.
Survey.
Your
Yeah.
review of Zeb.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you're waiting on her and you're doing that ritual. And in the meantime, Angela, you are heading towards Mortcrier first.
Jess, I have a list right here. I have one letter to Stripes.
As you make your way down, the street, the Duke's Quarter, having these sort of buildings on either side, very Victorian sort of style housing, all very close to each other, except for the larger manors, which you know to be like nobles or lesser nobility, and merchants and such. And as you're making your way down, the city still has that air about it that it's had for the past day or two. Just that very calm sort of demeanor. Everyone seems pretty chill. There's a lot less aggression than you're used to in the people. No one's walking with much purpose. They all seem like they don't have anything to do or anywhere to be right now. And that's odd for a city like this.
It's fucking Griffondale. What the hell's going on?
It's real weird. There's a distinct lack of any sort of guard presence, which, I've sort of said that's not usually, there's not usually guards, patrolling and stuff. But specifically right now, there doesn't even seem to be much of a presence on the streets at all in the Duke's Quarter, where you certainly expect there to be guards. However, as you approach your shop, your family's shop, which burned down in the blaze that consumed your father ultimately, it is surrounded by guards. Perhaps it brings to mind the image of a beehive. As you see men all clad in blue and white coats with guns at their hips and swords on their sides, walking about. There's 4 dudes pacing out in front. You see a couple of dudes on the what remains of the balcony, sort of piecing through things. You see a small tent that has been set up on the right side, where inside you can see a sort of desk that's been erected. And sitting at that desk, you see a very official-looking woman with red hair tied back and one of the Rainmaker's hats on. You recognize this to be Lochester's sister, Fiona Curtis.
Did you say a tent or a tent?
A tent, T-E-N-T.
Okay.
Like a big blue tent that's set up. Basically like a small sort of operating base for this whole operation, as you see that pretty much this might be 15% of the town guard here just at this one place. Guarding the whole area, and as you get anywhere near it, the guards sort of look at you and have their hands kind of on their weapons, kind of watching you as you pass by.
I would like to make a very interesting perception check.
Okay.
And
What
this
is the
is
intent? What are you trying to perceive?
The intent. I don't know if it will be perception or insight that you would be looking for, but I would like to look up and down and really get a good image in my head of what the guard uniform is exactly. Like
Ooh.
exactly like details, minute everything. So what check would you have?
Are
to
you trying
make?
to remember it for later?
Yeah, because
It would have to be intelligence based. I'd probably call it investigation.
okay, let me do that.
Yeah, I'd say investigation, and I'll say because there's such a huge presence of just normal guard attire. Not many of them are like officers or anything, except for the one lady, Fiona. I'll give you advantage on the investigation check just because there's so many of them. So you're not like having to focus on one person. You can just look around at all of them. They're all wearing.
And
the same
also
uniform.
mannerisms too,
Okay.
because
Yeah, in that
that's
case,
who
are
I-
you trying to do sort of the actor's thing and like commit it to mind?
actor and charlatan since I'm
Okay.
both? I
If
really
that's
wanna
the
get
case,
that
then
down.
let's go ahead and use your charisma instead of your intelligence
Really?
because yeah, you're using a skill that's based off your charisma. You're trying to kind of mimic those things. So we'll just do charisma, a straight charisma check with proficiency with advantage.
18.
Okay. Yeah, with an 18, you're able to get it pretty down. It's a very standard sort of thing. Whereas some of the other guards in the other districts, like for example the Dockers boys, they don't really have a standard. They all just kind of walk around with their own individual swagger. These guys, they're military. Like you can see they have a training. There's a very specific stance they're supposed to take when they're guarding opposed to when they're walking in a patrol. You can see some of them are not in stance, and those are the ones who seem to be doing more of like an investigative sort of aspect to the whole thing. They don't really have weapons on them. They're more like little pouches and kind of eyeglasses and things like that, looking at what's happening there as they're just combing through the rubble. But are you focusing on like the guardsman type or more the scientist, for lack of a better word?
The guardsman type.
Okay, yeah,
I'm
so
gonna
there's
need
that
that.
very standard sort of shoulders back, chest out, sort of hand on their weapon sort of thing that they're doing. As they're speaking to each other, you notice it is only for the purpose of the actual mission. Like they don't seem to be just like chatting or anything like that. Like they're very stalwart and reserved. They seem very resolute in their goal, which is just standing here, watching anyone coming close, looking intimidating.
Would like to approach the sciencey type.
To do that, you'd have to get through the guards.
Okay.
The guards are like in a perimeter, like a perimeter around the building. And then as you approach them, like get any closer, they're like stepping up to you. Like you know you're not supposed to be here.
And the woman is inside too, so I couldn't get to her.
The woman is inside a tent that is inside the perimeter, yes.
Okay, then I will approach one of the guardsmen.
Okay. As you approach one of the guardmen, he just kind of looks at you and says, Halt, who are you?
I'm Angelo von Rocht.
Never heard of you.
Really? Well, I suppose it could be a good or a bad thing. I don't know. But I've been out of the city for a while. I've come back because I've heard what has happened to my family shop, and I just wanted to see it for myself. I was also wondering if I'd be allowed to, go in.
You'd have to speak to the major, and I doubt she'd allow you to.
Would
We're in
you-
the middle of an investigation here.
Would you allow me to speak to her? Maybe I could offer her. I know this building, very well. Being that I grew up, around it. If you could offer my assistance somehow.
He kind of steps back and adjusts his coat a bit, and he turns around and he says, Martin. And a smaller sort of man in a seemingly less ostentatious kind of outfit, like of a lower rank. He comes up and stands beside him and says, Sir, and he's like, hold this spot while I take this man to go see the major. And they sort of switch stances, and you see this is something you notice as well. For their change, he like steps into the same place that the other guy was standing. Like as he steps a foot out, the other guy steps a foot in. And so like you recognize that that's a thing that if you were to ever try to mimic them, that's like obviously something they've been taught to do. And so you kind of watch that very particular footwork and like recognize it for the future if you need it. But yeah, they step into each other's spots, and then he sort of about faces towards the tent and then begins walking in that direction. And you know you're supposed to follow him. So the two of you walk side by side and make your way to the tent of Fiona Curtis, the major.
Very noble thing what you people do. If I wasn't born in the life that I was, then I for sure would be a guardsman. I used to dream about it when I was younger.
And what life is that you were born into?
The life of a noble, unfortunately. But, I don't know. what you people do. It's to be honored, respected. I appreciate it. Keep order, you know?
We serve the citizenry and protect the city.
As I said, very noble thing. I feel like your people don't get enough credit for what you do, but I want you to know I respect it. Like what you people do.
Major. And he turns to face her, and as you see her, she is a very rugged-looking woman. She seems, like most people in Griffondale, very tired, very hard-working. She's got, the sunken eyes and the wrinkles and all that sort of such. She has this red hair, very typical Scarlasian red and brown kind of hair, that's tied back in this tight sort of bun, and you see streaks of kind of gray that have begun to go from the roots kind of up into the hair itself.
How
and her
old is she?
eyes, she seems to be like in her 30s probably. And Lowchester is like in his mid-20s, maybe like late 20s, 27 maybe. And she seems to be like 32 or something like that, like somewhere in there, early 30s. And her eyes are this bluish brown sort of color, kind of like a hazel, but like with blue instead of green. And as she's sitting there, she kind of is wearing this very long, double-breasted blue coat with these white epaulets kind of on them, sort of like your father had in the Alienor prologue, the same kind of thing, but they're both white. And her blade is resting at its side. It's a long sword that's resting against the desk that's sort of been makeshift kind of desk that's been set up here. It's made out of like crates as she's working on like the stack of papers, and she looks up and says, "What is it, Sarge?" And she kind of looks at you with this look of like confusion and then recognition. She's like, "Angelo von Rocht. What an unexpected person to find here."
Well, what else am I supposed to do when I'm here, halfway across the world that my, family has been going through such hardship? Come back, of course.
Yes, I'm sorry to hear of that.
No, it's fine. I just, I thought I'd swing by and try to offer any assistance that I can to your investigation. Try to get a little bit more information about what's going on. As much as you can give me, of course. I know this is top secret stuff, but, if you have any questions for me, maybe I can assist somehow. I know you've always been the best at what you do,
Currently, the largest issue is that we do not have any sort of lead to go on. We've been canvassing the area and trying to determine what we can. We've been asking some of the people who gathered in the crowd that night. However, since then, people have been a bit tight-lipped, and that has been troublesome.
Well,
We were able to find your sister, which was the most important part.
yes, I've met with her. She's not in the best of conditions, but she's still very strong, and getting her duties done, already ready for getting back to work. Which I'm surprised because her injuries were not simple.
Well, it's a good thing that she's safe.
Yes.
Things have been turbulent recently with the nobility.
It's still really touchy with her though, talking about the situation. She's very, very upset about
I
the
understand
whole thing. So, but I don't know if this will help at all, but I have little birds that like to chirp around every once in a while, and I might have heard a couple of things that could possibly assist you. You see, there was one
She
bird.
kind of leans back in her chair and her gaze kind of changes as she sort of drops the pen that she'd been writing with and seems to be giving you her full attention.
One bird told me that there was a man seen not too far from here. When I don't know if it was a couple hours or maybe right as it was happening, but there's a man, I believe he had a brown robe, bald. He was eating, I believe it was some sort of fruit, an apple or something. I know this sounds strange, but from what this bird told me, it was kind of suspicious, and he was very close to the shop when this happened. He almost gave off a rather strange aura. Nothing magical or anything, but like his presence alone was something that was very peculiar,
And is your Bird a credible witness in this situation?
I believe so. Very credible.
On the word of a noble, I would like to speak to this witness to understand more of the situation. As I said, we've been at a bit of a stagnation due to a lack of evidence.
I think in due time you can, but I don't know if this one's ready to sing again for a little bit, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, when your sister is ready.
Oh, I don't know where you got my sister in this whole thing, but
Angela,
yes.
You've always been a terrible liar.
I guess so, you're right, but yeah, she did let me know a couple things. I was able to talk to her a little bit, you know, and her being where her mental state is at the moment, but
I understand.
you know, this is what I've heard. So she has some information, and I definitely know that there was someone involved. This was no freak magical accident or anything like that. This was a person with a motive. So, and it
I
might have.
understand that as well, and we have a few possibilities as to where this could be leading, but currently, I do ask
Yes.
that, by the order of the Duke, the two of you, do not get any strange ideas. Don't attempt anything. This is complex and interwoven. We fear this ties deeper to the nobility than we had expected.
Really?
Yes, and we do not want you to endanger yourselves or others by looking into it of your own accord.
And if it coincides with our responsibilities at all, what, do we give you a holler or?
Speak to the Duke.
The
He will
Duke.
give you directives.
Okay.
Currently, as I'm sure you know, there are other matters of significant arcane persuasion that would be much more associated to your talents.
Yes, this is true. But yeah, in the meantime, was there anything that you people were able to salvage? Anything that I could possibly take with me? As strong as I'm being right now, I am still very much in mourning over my father.
There were
He
two
was a good man.
blank scrolls. We assume them to be of some sort of arcane persuasion, as well as, I believe, the desk from the second floor study. Most of its contents had been burned or charred in some manner, but the desk itself could be refurbished. Other than that, there were a few bottles, probably of some sort of formaldehyde or something similar,
If
and
you
I think
don't
some
mind,
pins.
if you don't mind, if you could escort me, because this actually does fall in line with, well, you know, we're trying to get our stuff in order right now as a house. If you wouldn't mind me going to the study or something,
Well,
if you can escort me,
as I'm sure you can see, the majority of the study is gone. The desk happened to be in the corner that was not scorched by the blaze. However, unfortunately, I have been given a direct order to not allow either of you or anyone else into the premises during the investigation until the Duke has given his say-so.
But this may hinder my duties as a investigator.
Yes, but this is not your investigation, Angelo.
All right, well.
If the parameters change, you will be the first to know.
So if I can I mentally talk to my familiar, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, fucking Christ.
Because what people don't know is my little familiar is a little
Don't, please
invisible.
don't try anything stupid, please.
I'm gonna.
I just wanted you to assess the damage.
Kerumeku.
Yeah,
If you
Dad.
don't mind being a little. Being as, you know, you're very invisible. You mind going to that study for me? Actually see what is going on there. Be careful though, I don't know if they put any barriers or anything. So definitely watch yourself. And I
Okay.
just kind of give him directions mentally.
What am I looking for?
See how intact it really is. And then also if there's anything, any paper or documents that you can see, just let me know. Don't retrieve them yet, but let me know. We'll retrieve them later.
Okay, I'll see what I can.
Yes, but be careful, please.
All right, I'll come find you when I'm done.
Okay. I will keep distracted.
Where are you going next?
No, no, no. I will be here. I need you to go up there quick, and I will stay here. I will distract her long enough so you'll have time to just come back to me.
Okay.
Okay.
You feel that slight sort of gust of wind as he disappears.
I understand about, I don't want to bother your duties. I understand. But as soon as your investigation's over, please let me know when I can come back here. But also in the meantime, while I'm here, I'm sorry for taking up your time, but it's just been such a long time. I'm trying to get caught back up, with the ins and outs of the city, what's going on. And I was wondering, since I'm here, have you heard anything about those children that have gone missing from the restaurant?
It was one child, I believe, that had gone missing from the restaurant, Theodora. Other than that, there were 4 other children. We do have a record of them somewhere. I'm
Okay.
sure I could retrieve it for you and have it sent to your house if that is what you desire.
I actually would. It would really help. That is something that we're looking into. It's children, so it's of utmost importance to us. They're the future, so we need to make sure whoever's doing this has, be stopped.
It is concerning, certainly.
The other question I have, well, I have 2 more for 2 of my other investigations. The god that saw the deer,
Oh my god.
Yes.
what is his condition? Is he even coherent at this
He
point?
is not awoken.
He is not awoken, I see.
No.
Even when awoken, is he even going to be able to... Do they know how bad his condition actually is?
Kenneth has continually been tending to him, I believe, on the 2nd floor of the house, or of the gifter's den. It is not looking as though he will pull through.
I see.
It seems that all Kenneth can do is keep him stable, but
And I know that damn disease is an issue too. That is something that we're looking into. That's actually on the very top of our list, other than the children.
you
know.
didn't hear.
What do you mean?
It's something to do with the magic of it, I suppose, but, and these are not my areas of
No, of course,
expertise.
but it's
However, it seems to have ended.
The disease.
Yes, this morning I was informed that it
Did they
just-
die?
No, it just stopped.
What in the world is this thing?
I don't know.
So it was simply a warning, maybe. Perhaps it was just trying to state that this could turn terrible if you mess with it.
I don't know. It's magic. It's not my area of study. I don't know if it could happen again or if anyone is. But Kenneth says that they're fine. He's been letting them go. So hopefully they don't spread it to others.
Well, from what I understand about this creature, from reading the notes and everything, if you don't mind letting your guards know, I'm not gonna ever tell you how to do your job, of course, but for the sake of safety, I personally advise that letting your guards know if they're around the area, just don't let people go over there. I feel like what this creature's doing, it is, I feel like a warning. It's showing what it can do. For so long, it's always done little things, but now, I believe this showing, it could get bad. And if that's the extent...
Unfortunately, I do not have jurisdiction in the Undercity. You would need to speak to Docker.
Okay. Well, we'll see how far that gets me. But if he'll even listen, from what I remember of that man, he's not... But I will see what I can do. But anyone that's here, if they ever take a trip, I don't know. But I think that's what the creature was doing, which is showing the extent of what it can do and how bad things can get. And if that's as bad as it can get, that's pretty damn bad.
I would wager that's not as bad as it can get. I don't know if you heard, but it sunk a ship a while back.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
It was a small ship, a frigate of some sort,
It
but
still sunk a ship regardless.
yes. As I said, You'll need to speak to the dockers for more information on that case. It's not in my jurisdiction.
No,
nor
of
is it my
course.
certain specialty. However,
Yes.
I will do what I can to inform the citizens in the quarter not to venture to the Undercity, specifically to Riverside in that area where the
Yes.
temple lies.
Thank you. Now,
Let me know as soon as you have completed this investigation and it has become safe again for the civilians.
no, of course, I will. Also, is there any other information that you know? If you know anything about any of my cases, is there anything you have any leads for me or anything? I've been needing to gather information. Anything you might want to point out? Like about that man, for example, who's been curing people? If you know anything about his whereabouts?
Yes, I've heard something about that, but again, that would have to be Docker. I am
Docker
not.
again, yes.
It's another Undercity case. As far as the quarter goes,
Any leads for me?
looking through these cases, they all seem to be low town or out of the city. There's something in the Badlands and something that seems to be in a village called Olive Hill up to the north for Lovelace. None of them are in my jurisdiction.
Ah. Oh, that's a shame. Did you hear about that slayer that was living there? Did you know about that?
I believe I heard something about it, but again, it's not my jurisdiction. That one you'd have to go talk to, I believe, Barrymore.
Barrymore. Were people aware that he was a slayer, or did they only find out after the fact?
Again, I do not know.
Well. If there's anything that you come across, as fellow people who, try their best to keep the people of the city safe, just if you don't mind letting me know. I want to take care of all of these as quick as I can. I don't want them to be any more problematic than they already have been, Just really trying to get out there, let everyone know that, the investigators are here and we'll keep people safe, So, if you have anything, please.
Of course. And at that moment, you hear, Dad! Dad! Dad!
Yes.
Dad!
Yes.
Oh, there is a lot of people up there.
Okay.
And the room's pretty messed up, but they did have the desk in the corner, and for as small as that room is, there's about 6 guys up there really looking through the papers and stuff. And there's one girl. She's like a one of the what are they called? The fire elves. And
Sunny.
she looks, yeah, that one. And she looks really serious. And she didn't have any like weapons or anything, but she seemed to be like ordering them around and like looking at stuff. And she's definitely magical, or something, kind of magical. It's weird.
Kinda magical, I see.
If there's not anything else, your lord.
No. You don't have to call me that. I am not what I used to be, I guess, Been gone for a very long time. It's gonna take a while for me to earn that back,
You are still a noble.
Yeah, I guess. But, it was a pleasure seeing you again,
You as well.
So yeah, I'll keep you informed if I come up with anything else, that pertains to this investigation or...
She just goes back to her
Anything.
papers.
So,
It's just kind of nods.
alright. You have a good one, man.
Yes. So, as you walk away from the major, Fiona Curtis, we will cut back to Alienor, who you're, about halfway through your ritual, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
And at about that time, your little,
Repeat that.
your little familiar, in the form of a bird, I believe.
Yes, I summoned her as a raven.
Yes. She has reappeared and sort of flutters in through the stables and lands as you kind of hold up your hand on your hand. And she is awaiting her next task.
I pull out the letter to Anastasia.
Mm-hmm.
I tie it to Lady's foot. And I just kind of mentally tell her Anastasia Docker.
All right.
And I feel like Lady, she's been with me since I was a little girl, so I feel like she has a pretty good idea of what people look like and where generally to find them.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
off she goes. And then I continue finishing the ritual.
Okay. And cutting back to Angela.
Walking down the street. Dun, dun, dun.
So, you're making your way now to Stripes?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, you make your way there. It's not very far. It's just a couple blocks down, and as you finally arrive, it is a very sort of unassuming kind of building. It's tucked away behind a few other buildings, and there's no like big sign or anything that draws people in. It's just this normal-looking sort of wooden building, and as you step inside and kind of step down, the stairs creak as you walk down into this large open kind of space, this wooden sort of, almost like a basement kind of thing. And you see just immediately you're hit with this musk, this like sort of damp, sort of hot kind of air, but it's not necessarily like uncomfortable. It's kind of a welcoming sort of timber, you know? Like everything smells like the wood that it's made of, that you can tell came from the mountains, and there seems to be some sort of not like a potpourri, but more of like a cologne in the air that seems to be coming from some various, you can see plants that he has kind of set up along various tables and such in the building. There are many different racks and racks of clothes sort of along the walls, and the open or the area in the center is all open except for a few mirrors that are kind of standing at little stations, basically. It's a very welcoming and kind of inviting area, and as soon as you step onto the last stair, you hear it kind of creak louder than all the others, and then you hear, welcome to Stripes, as this man steps out. And he is a very tall, very athletically built man. He's about 6'4", and he's got really broad shoulders, a really well-defined chest, huge biceps and triceps, like his arms are massive. And as he steps out, he's wearing this strangely very well-fitting vest and like button-up kind of shirt, dress shirt, and slacks. Nothing seems to be like bulging or anything. Like for a dude of his physique, you know, it'd be like hard to really have good, well-fitting clothes that don't like, you know, make him look bad. But like all of this accentuates the right things. He's got this blondish red kind of hair, very Scarlasian sort of look to him. He's got this very straight kind of beard thing going on all the way down, as well as like the mustache and the goatee. And then he's got this blonde hair that's kind of swept back and shaved on the sides. His eyes are blue. As he kind of steps out, you see his sleeves. He rolls them up, and as he does, there's this... go ahead and let's do a perception check.
17.
Okay. Yeah, you notice then this tattoo around his arm on the left arm, and it's like, it almost looks like a chain, like links in a chain wrapping around his bicep, like very tightly. As he steps out, he kind of rolls up his sleeves and says, "What can I help you with?"
Well, first, I must compliment your outfit. It's
Well, thank you.
amazing. You're like probably the most stylish person I've come across so far and since my return to the city. So my hat, if I had one, would be off to you.
Well, I say I greatly appreciate your compliments.
Now, since I'm coming back in town, as you can see, I'm not really in the best garb at the moment, and I heard you're the person to come to, you know, to fix that.
Would you like me to alter what you're currently wearing, or get you something new?
Oh, I need something new. It's been a while, and, you know, I need something sharp.
Well, I think we can certainly sort you out.
Then let's do it. But, also, in the meantime, before that, I have a letter for you from my sister,
All right.
Eleanor. This is yours.
Ah, Lady Von Rochts. He kind of
Yes.
reaches out, steps towards you, and takes the letter. And as he kind of flips it open, he starts reading through it, and he says, "Oh yeah, I remember her saying something about that." All right, I think we
She
can
didn't
get that
ask you
going
for your
her.
body, did she?
What?
Never mind.
No, she just said something about needing a new uniform at some point soon. So
yes.
I was already working on some designs that I was planning on showing her. In fact, if you come over here, and he takes you over to a table and starts kind of showing you some designs. And that's where we'll cut that. Cutting back to Alienor as your ritual is almost complete. Lady returns fluttering through the stable window, the sort of open stable window up top. And as she comes down and lands on your hand, she has a return letter from Anastasia.
I finish my ritual first, and then I look at Kristoff, who is now standing before me again.
Yeah, so he is just this big skeletal horse. He's a large creature, and you can tell he's got the bones of a war horse, like a Clydesdale. Just real big and burly. Nothing's gonna break easy. He seems very sturdy.
I know he's not the same because he was my father's Eidolon, which would have given him a lot more power. However, it's still Kristoff.
He's still about 6 feet tall. So
She just puts her arms around his neck and just hugs him and like kind of cries a little. Just for a second, and then gets herself together and takes the return note from Lady.
And just so you know, too, the changeling saddle, which is the thing that you had used in the prologue to change his form, that's still resting in the stall beside him.
Oh
as
shit!
well.
Yes.
So it's not, you don't have to like attune it or anything. It's just an item, and once you have it on him, you can just kind of surge your mana into it and activate it.
I just tell Bones to start saddling Kristoff.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read the letter while he's doing that.
All right, and as you read the letter, it just says, "Sure, come whenever."
Okay.
That's the whole letter. It's not like a "Hey, Alienor, how are you?" Oh, it's Anastasia. Like, no, it's just come whenever.
Okay. In that case, I will. All right. She just puts the note away, and once Bones is finished saddling Kristoff, she will have him help her into the saddle. And since she is not wearing a dress, she's not riding side saddle today.
Okay.
But since she also doesn't really have a functioning leg, she has Bones climb up there, and he will help steer Kristoff.
Okay.
I guess though, since he is my Kristoff is now under my control, I guess I could.
You can actually command him with your mind. Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to drive him with reins or anything. He doesn't. Yeah, Kristoff, the changeling saddle doesn't have reins. It's just it goes around his like chest and neck area, comes up the back, and then has the saddle, and it comes with sort of there's kind of a blanket that like falls off of it, but and all the different gems kind of along the sides with the big gem in the middle that changes color, but the saddle itself doesn't have any reins or no bride or anything like that. You know that your father just commanded him with his mind.
Okay, so I just like hang on to like his like collarbones, and I just like.
There is a horn on the saddle for you to grab, so you don't have to like dig in.
Ruining it, man. Okay,
But
fine.
you could do that too.
I just grab the horn on the saddle, and I have Bones behind me, and Bones is kind of like additional seat belt.
All right.
And then I have Lady like fly in front of me, and then just real dramatically just Clydesdale steps out from the estate.
Yeah, this beautiful, brilliant creature just stepping out.
And it's a skeleton, man. She's not changing its form.
Right
it's
on.
a skeleton. Like, this is only the second skeleton she's actually made.
Yeah.
She's a little emotional right now. This is great.
Right.
So she just heads to Kennett's.
All right. Yeah. You
On
step
her new
out
skeleton.
and you begin your ride. Riding through the city, you see, the same sorts of sights. You do hear the blue pages being called out again on the corner, the New Days blue pages. Zeb is nowhere to be found on your route.
Fuck.
You also hear a town crier crying, "News from the front! The siren war rages. The Lady Telia Moore and her army of pirates have valiantly pushed back the Caress in their offensive. Things are getting spicy." You can tell that one was definitely an ad lib on his part.
Oh,
he seems
yeah.
proud of it as he kind of says it, and everyone's like looking at him. Like,
Yep.
what?
Yeah, Eleanor is familiar with the war that recently broke out because Marquine was going to enlist before his arm was completely ripped off at this going away party.
Right.
But she's never been one who's much interested in the politics of war. She recognizes that it will have an effect. We'll probably be seeing more refugees coming through Griffondale at some point. But for right now, got a fucking job to do.
Yeah.
So, onward.
All right. So, continuing through the city, you make your way back to the Gifter's Den, the beautiful sort of 3-story lodge in which Kenneth resides.
Yes.
And you can just easily saddle up. There's a few different sort of posts outside to hitch your mount to.
Yo, I don't need to hitch him. I
That's
just
true.
tell him to stay.
Yeah, you do. And he just stays and lowers to let you off. You hop off and head inside. Cutting back to Angela, you have completed your tasks with Stripes. He has also given you essentially the designs to show to Eleanor, and he has quoted you in total 50 steel for whatever it is that you're wanting from him. As he says, it's kind of a return to the city sort of deal that he's giving you. Welcome back, wear my stuff and tell people where you got it kind of thing. And then he says that the rest of it, is just the standard price for that he and Eleanor had discussed about the uniform. Where
I
do you
want to
next?
ask.
Oh, okay.
By any chance, Mr. Stripes, do you do shoes?
I do.
Do you make shoes?
I can. It's not my direct specialty, but I do have the capability.
I'm a bit of a cobbler myself. It's something I picked up overseas. Something I take great passion and pride in my shoes. I can see.
It's a strange hobby for a noble.
Yeah, well, I've done a lot of strange things, but there's nothing like a good shoe. I don't know, there's the ones that wrap around your feet, right? The ones that get you up and going, And I would love to do business sometime with you. I can just tell. I see how much passion you put in your clothing, and I would love to, work with you in some regard. I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else, I have to only work with people who take pride in what they do, but true pride, and actually have an eye for it, you see. And I can see that in your clothes, but,
Well, I must say I am flattered by your compliments. And we could certainly have a discussion about that at some point. Currently, I've got another client coming in for fitting. However, if you would like to reach out or send a servant or something, we could set something up.
I would love to. I have something.
Perhaps next week.
Yes. I've also heard, well, I'll go ahead and tell you, as a fellow tradesman. There's something I have in the works that I think could change the game, for lack of better words, that I've been working on. They're self-tying laces, you see. It was another thing that I picked up. It was a simple... Well, it wasn't so simple. It was a trick that they used on the ships that I was on when I was traveling to tie the ropes. But I simplified it, and I've took a lot of time, but I really got the incantations right and the
It's arcane in
enchantments.
nature.
It is.
That might cause some issues.
How's that?
It would have to be sanctioned. Could be an interesting conversation.
But it is something so... But it's...
Self-tying noose,
Ah, yes.
self-tying garrote,
Yes, but...
self-tying ropes even. All that could be dangerous.
It can be, but
It's
these...
something you could certainly speak to someone about. And if you can get the go-ahead for it, then we could certainly sit down and have a conversation about the logistics. But you'd first have to... I'm not very magical myself, so you'd have to speak to someone and get that part of it sorted.
I could do this. But it's just something I just sort of throw your way. It's, you know... It's very handy when you don't have to bend over and, you know...
I must say, I'm interested in the idea. I'm certainly always looking for new investments, so if you can get it all sorted out and have the papers ready to go, then we can sit down and talk business.
Alright. I'll get it done. I'm working with a vendor right now, someone that I have that will be one of my distributors. But yeah, I'll get the go ahead and I'll let you know.
That sounds wonderful.
Alright. I'll be seeing your stripes.
You as well.
And I just walk out.
And he steps back into the sort of shadowy back office. And
That is a very, very interesting man.
Isn't he?
isn't he?
That guy has a lot of secrets. I just know.
That's the best part.
He's very scary.
Yeah. So, cutting back to Alienor,
Yes.
as you are making your way into the gifter's den. You are immediately met with a completely different sight than the last time, as the entire den first floor is almost empty. There are 2 beds that are occupied by patients, and everything else, all of the extra beds that have been brought down and everything, seem to be currently being toted back up the stairs by various servants and such, and the whole area seems pretty cleaned out.
Her first thought is, oh my god, where did they put all the bodies?
Right. And as you're kind of looking around and thinking that, you see Zorba, the little Festarian with the purple bun bouncing on his head, as he comes up and looks to you and says, "Oh, Lady von Rocht."
Yes, it's very nice to see you again, Zorba.
Yes, it's good to see you too.
Kenneton.
Yes, he is upstairs attending to the patients.
Oh, the ones with the plague.
No, the plague. The plague is over. It's gone now. Bye-bye.
What do you mean?
I don't know. It was weird. We came in this morning and everyone was okay. They were very confused. They did not know where they were. They were asking about the people that they had been talking to, and they were fine.
Are any of them still here?
No, they're all gone. Kenneth sent them all home. He said they were good. No problems. Bye-bye. I will go get Kenneth. As he just kind of turns and runs up the stairs, and a couple minutes pass, and then runs back down the stairs, and he says, "Kenneth is ready for you. He's in the office at the 3rd floor."
Yeah, she just starts heading up. Bones carries her up the stairs.
Yeah, you make your way up, and you see the beautiful sort of illusory fiction wall, the blue sort of light shining over the whole office, and Kenneth's just sitting in his chair behind his desk, just kind of looking through a couple of papers, and he seems to be kind of finalizing a signature as he kind of finishes it and looks up and says, "Ah, Eleanor, I was not expecting to see you again."
Really?
Not this soon. I figured you would be busy with the temple.
I am. I came to see the patients.
Yes, it's the patients. They are... It ended. Whatever it was, it seemed to be some sort of spell, I suppose. And now it's finished.
And you sent all of them home.
Well, it was a funny thing. It did not appear to have been a sickness at all. Upon closer inspection and talking to some of the people and looking at them afterwards, there was no sign of anything that had happened for their bodies physically. And arcanely, the only mana type that I saw lingering was fiction.
I was wondering.
So, whoever we're dealing with is got a strange sense of humor, I suppose. Or perhaps it was a warning.
That means that the person who died in Lowtown didn't die of the plague.
I know not about that situation.
My brother mentioned something on his way in the city. He said he saw them throwing a dead body into the river that looked like it had died from the plague, which means didn't, so...
As I understand, there was no one who died of the plague.
Well,
There wasn't.
at least the water isn't infected. That's good.
Well, the water might still be infected, but different reasons, different plagues.
Okay, well, if...
That just hit me, what you were saying. Sorry to interrupt, but like, yeah, that's... Oh my god, wait. They didn't die of the plague. I didn't put that together. Oh.
If you remember, I did say they had bruises on them.
Oh god, okay. Sorry.
Well, if all the patients have been sent home and none of them seem to be showing any signs of anything again, then I guess I guess there's one other thing I could ask.
The Lovelace girl.
Yes.
Yes. I figured eventually you would come to inspect her. She is on the second floor. I was just there. It is a very peculiar case.
Yes, the note said that you could determine no cause of death.
Absolutely nothing. She is less than deceased, I would say. She has no cognitive function or any sort of ability to speak or communicate in any way. And the body, for all intents and purposes, is dead, but the mana remains.
Show me right now. Right now. She like immediately gets super serious. Like that sounds like necromancy,
Yeah.
dude. That's not okay.
He says, very well. And
Holy
he
shit.
stands and sort of closes the folder he'd been working on, sets his pen down, and walks over to you. And he sort of reaches out and says, do you need help down the stairs? Or...
That's what Bones is for.
Very well. Puts his hand sort of back in his pockets and starts heading down the stairs and takes a left into the second story room. And as he does, there are 3 beds along the side that have 2 Amarians and 1 Stilts Guardian in them that all seem to be not sick, but they have like broken bones or some sort of like, one of them is in a full body cast, the Stilts Guardian. And as you walk in, there's just 1 bed behind this large curtain that he sort of pulls aside. And as he does, you see this woman. She is completely naked, and she has no like bruises or scars. Like she has scars, but like they're long done scars. Nothing new, no new wounds or anything. She seems fairly healthy, like looking at her. But he kind of looks and he says, everything appears fine. But he kind of walks up and he touches her hand and he kind of raises it and he says, look at this. Feel this.
You take her hand.
It is cold. Dead cold. And there's no pulse on the wrist. But the body is not decayed. It is as if it is not chosen to die yet.
Yes. Would you give me a moment, please?
Yes. She has also been here for 5 days now.
Yes.
He steps back, closes the curtain, and says, I will be right outside when you need me.
So Eleanor immediately has 2 thoughts.
Okay.
There are 2 spells that come to mind when she hears about this.
Mm-hmm.
One is a death that a spell that feigns death.
Mm-hmm.
And people often use it to pretend to die so that they can disappear. The other one is more necromantic, but it is basically used to preserve corpses. She's going to use Detect Magic to see what kind of magic is actually affecting this person.
Okay.
Because they very well might be dead, but be undead, or they could be still alive and be acting dead.
As you use Detect Magic, you do not sense any sort of necromancy, or necrocana for that matter. You do not sense devastation. You do not sense convocation. Actually, looking closer at it, you sense a bit of convocation, but it lingers. It's not currently present. And it's not in her so much as on her chest.
What's on her chest?
Nothing.
Nothing.
But that's sort of where the presence of the convocation magic lingers, is on her chest. And then, inside of her, you sense just this whirling, tormented vortex of fiction magic. And as you're looking at it deeper and deeper, go ahead and give me a Arcana check.
Natural 20.
Your eyes roll back in your head.
Oh.
As suddenly, you are in darkness. And in this darkness, you hear whimpering. And then you hear heavy panting. You hear brush being moved aside as someone sprints through it and then sort of slams against something. And then you hear, where are you? Do you do anything?
What's your name? It's all right.
Who's that?
I'm here to help you.
Hide! It's coming!
What is?
And then go ahead and give me a wisdom saving throw.
Shit.
As you hear...
Another natural 20. Oh my god.
Holy shit.
Dude, we ain't playing today.
You hear this. She says, I'm Lily. I don't know where I am. I don't know.
Lily,
Oh my god,
Lily,
it's here.
Lily,
It's here.
Lily, listen to me. Describe to me exactly what you're seeing right now.
It's a monster. It's massive. It's 20 feet tall.
It's 20 feet tall.
It's hairy and it has 4 red eyes and 5 mouths. I've never seen anything like it.
What happened?
I don't know. I was just asleep, and then and you hear that and I need you to make another wisdom saving throw.
Oh no, that's not as good. 12.
12. You are pulled out of it as your eyes come back and you're just like fall to the ground and your head kind of like hits the back as you're kind of laying on the ground looking up, and you're like back in the room.
Holy
Breathing heavy, and you just hear this soft sort of scream in the distance of your mind.
Yo, okay. The curtain's still closed, right?
Yeah, you kind of like fell into it.
Dude,
The curtain.
okay, we're gonna try, this is really illegal, but
Okay.
no one's around.
Kenneth went outside. You heard the door open and close earlier.
That's good. I'm gonna cast Dispel Magic.
Okay. So, as you begin
You have
to
a
draw
what?
within you
I don't have anything.
this energy, you begin to feel something that you don't feel very often, as nullification mana begins to course through your hand as you reach out, and this sort of warbling in space begins to occur, this sort of ripple effect around your hand, like water, like pebbles in water.
And she starts kind of
As
speaking.
you reach out, that same sort of energy begins to ripple, and all these pebbles sort of pounding the space around her body as you're reaching out. What level are you casting Dispel Magic at?
The highest level I can.
Third. Okay, you could overcast if you wanted to.
Well, we ain't gonna do that because we have trouble, but I'm going to place my hand on her chest where the concentration of the convocation is, and I'm just going to say, Lily, if you can hear me, I need you to reach out and grab my hand.
Give me an Arcana check. As you reach to her and you say, Lily, if you hear me, I need you to reach out and grab my hand. A hand reaches out, but it is not Lily's. As you see this massive, furry hand just come out of her fucking chest, grab up on your arm, and dig its claws into your arm. Go ahead and roll me, let's say a dexterity saving throw, as it doesn't actually grab you yet. It like reaches out and tries to grab you.
Bones is within 5 feet of me.
That's true, so you have advantage on the dex save.
Okay.
As Bones tries to kind of move you out of the way as well.
20 not natural.
Okay. He leaps out of the way as this hand reaches out, and it's about fucking 5 feet long. You can tell it just looks to be like the forearm. As it reaches out of the body and attempts to grab you, it rakes against the ceiling, tears the sort of metal bar that the curtains are hanging by, slams it into the ground, and rakes back along the wood as it just flies back into the body. Her body kind of shakes as the hand goes back into it. And then Kenneth comes rushing in. What? I heard it! What was it? What happened here?
All of my assumptions were wrong.
As you see this blue energy beginning to well up around his hands as he's kind of looking around.
She needs to be isolated, away from the other patients. I kind of like get closer. There is something inside of her.
I see that. I've never seen anything like this. This is...
Neither have I. She is alive, though. She is alive.
She's alive?
Yes.
How's that possible?
She just is. I spoke to her. She's alive. Yes.
He sort of
Get
steps
off the rocks.
back, giving a Stiltsguardian curse, kind of grabbing his hair and kind of...
Just isolate her from the other patients. Minimize any contact with the body. I don't know if this thing can get out. Obviously, it can a bit.
He steps forward and the blue energy, the animatic energy, begins to run up his arms. And then you see that similar sort of rippling effect, denoting nullification, sort of begin to come around the mana that's coursing off of his arms as he reaches out and touches the body. And as he does, nothing happens. And then he sort of puts his other hand under her head and he just sort of lifts her up. Not necessarily like with his hands, it's more with like mana, as he kind of lifts her up and says, make way, as he kind of turns the body and begins walking forward. It's more of like he's sort of almost telekinetically like holding her up as he sort of walks through the door and up the stairs.
She follows.
Yeah, he makes his way up the stairs and he goes to the left instead of the right, on the other side of that sort of fiction pane. And over there, it's just this big empty space. However, he sets the body down, and as he does, he begins to kind of raise his hands over the body and begins chanting softly in Stilty, the Stiltsguardian language. And he begins to draw these runes in the air. And you see this sort of bubble begin to kind of form around her.
If that doesn't hold whatever there is, my family does have some means of keeping things like that contained.
As he finishes, he kind of pulls his fingers away and takes this like deep sort of breath, and as he does, that animatic energy sort of goes out of his mouth and kind of forms around the bubble, sort of cementing it. These blue runes sort of on this transparent kind of dome around the body. And as he turns to face you, this blue light sort of fades from his eyes as he says, it will hold, but if it does not, you will be the first person to know.
I am going to go meet with Lady Docker about the temple now. But if anything changes with her, if it's been like this for 5 days, I feel like it will continue. I will try to come back after the temple and help with her. She is still alive, so...
Yes, you said that she's alive. How do you know that she's alive?
I was detecting what this could be, and I just heard her.
You heard her?
Yes. I don't know if
What was she saying? What was happening?
She was running, what sounded like through a forest. She said, I asked her to describe what she saw. Real quick, her name is Lily, yes?
Yes. Yeah, Lilibeth, I believe.
She said there was like a 20-foot monster with 4 eyes.
And she is in there with it.
Yes. 4 eyes and 5 mouths.
Then I fear perhaps we must be swift about this. You might still have a chance to save her.
Alienor really kind of like does a deep dive. What kind of monster could this be from her study?
Give me an Arcana check, man. Like,
She like goes into like a mind palace and just is like looking.
yeah, you're reaching in.
16.
Nothing simple. Nothing that you can think of just right off the bat. As you're digging deep, you really come to only 2 possible conclusions. 2 things that you have encountered recently or have been studying recently. It's either a demon or an aberration.
The way I see it, there's only 2 things this thing could actually be. Neither of them are easy to deal with. Or easy to deal with. Did I already say that?
Yes, but
Neither
I
of them are
forgive you for the tension of the moment.
easy to do. Yes. Neither of them are simple
Or easy, yeah.
or easy. Yes. She's just like thinking for
I
a
suppose
second.
this is not the time to be laughing. What are the possibilities?
Honestly, it's either a demon or an outsider. My guess, there's been a lot of outsider activity lately, specifically in this region. If it was a demon, we're looking at much bigger problems.
Very well.
But either way, neither is anything to scoff at.
All right, well then perhaps we should work very swiftly because this might not hold against that. It will hold for now. I will let you know as soon as it is a problem. For now, I think we should keep her here because I fear that even taking her through the city back to your house would be dangerous.
Oh, we don't have to take her back to my house. I can bring the case here, if need be.
Perhaps that would be the best option. But you must...
I will bring one tonight after I deal with the temple.
Yes, certainly you must go deal with the temple. That is, we don't know the state of those people. It was one of the things that I was talking about. Right now, I had no reason to keep them because they all seemed fine. But if all of a sudden all of them get symptoms again, it could be another issue.
Well, also, if that was the level of, if that was fiction magic and that's the level that this creature can make people believe it is,
Yes.
then I worry it can conjure some other fiction that might send people more into a panic other than just some sickness.
I agree.
I'll go deal with that. I'll come back tonight to try some stuff with her.
Very well. I will see you then. I will keep you abreast of the situation.
All right, Bones, let us make haste. And I have Bones carrying me back down the stairs. We get on Kristoff, and there's a bit more sense of urgency now, because that's either a demon or another outsider, and holy fuck.
Yeah.
Don't want to be dealing with any of those things, so we're just going to try and finish the temple real quick and get this shit done. So Alienor, like, Kristoff, I think, has a 60-foot movement speed. Just through the town.
Yeah, you run out of the building, hop onto Kristoff, you and Bones, and just start booking it through the town towards Anastasia. All right, and that is where I think we will end this episode of Griffondale.
Dope.
Good, because I ain't ready to get pee.
Me too. That was
Yeah.
fucking cool. What'd you guys think?
Yeah.
That was awesome, dude! Holy shit!